After World War II, Africa underwent massive political and social transformations. Once carved up by European colonial powers, the continent faced both the pain of colonial legacy and the promise of independence. But how exactly was Africa reshaped, and what challenges did it face on the road to freedom? Before World War II, Africa was almost entirely colonized by European powers: Britain, France, Belgium, Portugal, Italy, and Spain. The 1884 Berlin Conference formalized this partition, with little regard for ethnic or cultural boundaries. During World War II, hundreds of thousands of African soldiers fought alongside European armies. They hoped their sacrifices would earn them greater autonomy. But instead of freedom, colonial rule continued. However, the war had weakened European powers economically and politically, and African resistance was rising. Post-War II, African leaders began to demand self-rule. The global wave of decolonization, supported by the UN and driven by Cold War geopolitics, helped fuel this momentum. The first major breakthrough came in 1957, when Ghana became the first sub-Saharan African country to gain independence. Through the 1960s, a wave of independence swept the continent. Nigeria, 1960. Kenya, 1963. Senegal, 1960, and over 30 others. However, borders drawn by colonizers remained intact, often placing rival ethnic groups within the same country or splitting communities across borders. Independence didn't bring peace and prosperity overnight. Many countries faced immediate challenges: weak institutions left by colonial powers, ethnic divisions leading to conflict, like the Biafra War in Nigeria, 1967-1970. Military coups and authoritarian regimes emerged as democracy struggled to take root. Economies reliant on raw materials suffered from price fluctuations. Cold War interference by the US and USSR further destabilized regions, like Angola and the Congo. Colonial languages and systems were kept in place, which helped administration but sometimes alienated local populations. Poverty, youth unemployment, conflict zones, corruption, African Union. Voiceover. Today, Africa still wrestles with many challenges. Corruption and mismanagement drain public resources. Poverty and inequality remain high in many regions. Climate change threatens food security and livelihoods. Armed conflicts in places like Sudan, the Sahel, and the Horn of Africa destabilize progress. Youth unemployment is high, and migration pressures continue. But it's not all bleak. The African Union promotes unity and cooperation, and regional economic blocs like ECOWAS and SADC aim to boost trade and integration. Some African countries have defied the odds. Botswana transitioned peacefully and has used diamond wealth responsibly. Rwanda, despite the 1994 genocide, has become a model for reconciliation and rapid development. Ghana and Senegal have maintained democratic stability in a turbulent region. The tech boom in Nigeria and Kenya signals a digital revolution, often called Silicon Savannah. These nations show that with leadership, investment in education, and strong institutions, African countries can thrive. From colonial domination to fragile independence to emerging strength, Africa's story is one of resilience. Though the continent still faces challenges, its people, culture, and potential hold the key to a promising future. The post-Wood transformation was just the beginning.